Look, I rarely, if ever, look, you guys know me, I never look to the government to solve anything because I just don't. But the question that needs to be asked is, where the hell is Mayor Pete Buttigieg on all these aviation problems? Oh, look, there he is, doing cozy interviews on news networks that really don't count.
We never take for granted there's this incredible fact that flying through the air is actually the safest way to travel in the United States of America. Keeping it that way is going to require Boeing to step up and FAA to keep Boeing under a microscope, including this tough step that was unprecedented of limiting how many aircraft they can produce in a month until they can demonstrate that if they want to do a higher number, they can do it safely.
I have never seen anybody say so much without saying so little. You've got wheels falling off planes, an entire FAA safety system going down that grounded all air travel, blowing doors off mid-flight, holes drilled in the wrong places. A plane just drove off the runway the other day. Someone left a fuel cap, apparently, off the engine, off the fuel tank, dumping who knows how much jet fuel all over the runway. I mean, this is while it's taking off. The plane literally took off dumping fuel the whole way down the runway and up into the air. No one seemed to care. And now another Boeing 777 had to make an emergency landing at LAX last night because of a mechanical issue. That's like the 6th incident this week. If failure was a person, pow, put his face on that. This is just air travel, though. Don't get me started with all what's happening with these train derailments. He basically just let a chemical bomb go off in East Palestine with that crash and did absolutely nothing about it. Like I said, the government is so rarely where I turn for any sort of resolution to anything. But I feel like the regulation of safe air travel just might tick that box. This is what happens when you appoint someone to run the transportation of the United States for the whole country who couldn't fix a pothole when he was mayor. And then when everybody was somehow surprised that during a supply chain crisis of COVID, he took 2 months off, not weeks, 2 months, getting his full $200K plus government salary that we pay for out of our tax dollars for paternity leave for a child that he didn't father. You cannot make this stuff up. As transportation secretary, you have arguably 2 jobs, neither of which have anything to do with systemic racism, equity, or the rights of trans people. But here he is.
The racism that was built into the roadways.
I'm still surprised that some people were surprised when I pointed to the fact that if a highway was built for the purpose of dividing a white and a black neighborhood.
Yeah, nice mask for that reporter, by the way. Your first concern should be the safety of travel for Americans. Your second concern, if there is one, should be the access for Americans to travel. Things like regulations that prohibit affordable travel, you should be doing away with that. But you don't do that, you embrace it. In fact, you are so bad at your job, Mayor Pete, that for the first time in the history of, I think, my life, people know who you are. Nobody ever knew who the transportation secretary was until you came in and just were terrible at it. How little do you have to do or not do to keep your job in government? I mean, it's like government just attracts and retains the lowest common denominator. And let me caveat this by saying, part, of course, pertaining to the military and things like that. There are some perfectly awesome people who work for government, but that's not the norm. Look, when I was in the Trump administration, I had so many people that worked for me that were absolutely useless. They were stuck in this random agency that I was appointed to run. Some of them had left at one time or another for the private sector, but they came right back. They came back to government likely because they were bad at things and they got fired. I know for a fact that happened to some people. The government was just happy to take them back and give them their jobs. I'm not kidding. I had this one guy, folks, making $150,000 a year. I couldn't fire him. They made it so impossible to do that. So I would assign him the most linear, simple, straightforward tasks. I was like, hey, dude, can you plan me a bus tour for AmeriCorps recruiting? Give me some good locations, maybe some college hotspots or et cetera, whatever. Lay out what kind of logistics we should consider and might need. We'll take it from there. No. I mean, the bar expectations for this guy was on the floor. And what he gave me was in the basement. I gave this guy 4 weeks to lay this out. I kid you not. He came back to me with a 4-page PowerPoint. Well, I mean, it was 3 because the top page just said recruiting bus tour on it in big. Okay, so I opened this thing up. Page 2 was literally just get a bus. with a picture of a bus. Page 3 was a low-resolution Google image of a map, college spring break hotspots, a lot like the one you see right here. Half of which were in Mexico and the Caribbean and stuff like that. I had to take a deep breath on this. I honestly said, do you recall that this is a United States-funded endeavor for AmeriCorps, keyword Ameri? Maybe we should focus on locations in America? He just glazed over when I said that. The last page was pending your approval in bold letters. This is why I hate the government. In what private sector industry could that be the product of a month of work? The guy reported directly to me, during which time he reported no other product, so it doesn't like he was doing anything else. And when I went to fire him, the HR response was even more, they were more concerned about defending him than the taxpayers that fund his lack of any product and $150,000 a year salary plus benefits. They literally asked, I kid you not, the woman looked me dead in the eye and says, well, how would that affect his career if you fired him? I looked this woman dead in the eye and said, well, I hope it would end his career because he's a net loss for the agency and for the taxpayers. I can't believe I had to, this went right over her head. Government perpetuates itself. Pete Buttigieg, he's just a symptom of that. And all these FAA things, he's not going to solve any of that because he doesn't care. There is no correcting this with light changes. You have to just basically blow up the whole system. When the government creates a problem, they don't go to you and I and say, hey, man, I know we used your tax dollars. How would you like to see us remedy it? They double down. With our tax dollars, again, big shocker here, it turns out that most experts, when they hire them, agree with whoever is funding them. And that's what they do. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the people who are giving them our money. These people will go hire experts to agree with them to make us seem stupid. Then we disagree with the government and their experts, and they try to explain it away how we don't understand whatever nuance of the issue. They never look introspectively. Like Pete Buttigieg has never stepped back and like, maybe all this could actually be my fault. But he doesn't say that. They never, and I am speaking in absolutes here, they never consider that they may have done something wrong. They think they're better than us. It's just, we're perceiving it wrong. That's what they say. And whatever they did, when it blows up and you and I are super angry about it, their first resort is to explain it that we don't understand. They explain it to us like we're toddlers and like we're stupid. I don't want you to explain it to me. I want my representatives to listen to me and certainly not hire an expert to explain it some other different way with crayons. Pick an issue, inflation. Literally every single person on Main Street in every town in America knew with 100% certainty that if you shut down the economy like they did during COVID and print $7 trillion, it's going to lead to inflation. But no, the people who we sent to D.C., because we just vote for the least bad person, very few people, good people, run for office, they just go away anyway. They lie to us, and they try to explain it away, how, we're not reading the stats right, or something, and then they just go on to their next re-election campaign.